Guys, I'm Lauren. Welcome to my channel. So good to see you. Thank you for popping in. It has been a hot minute. I had a busy week and I just didn't post any videos. I had family come into town and my son's birthday, and then I got like this allergy head cold thing, and it's just been very, very interesting. What I did end up doing was going plant shopping last week before I had the family come into town. So I'm going to play that for you. Have changed from when they were in the plant videos. I can't believe that store had so many plants. I really can't. It actually looked partially decent too, because every time I go there, I never film because they all look terrible. And if I end up getting a plant or two, it's usually like the succulents when everything else looked terrible, you know? So really glad that they had some good looking stuff this time. Let me get the first plant of the plant haul. Okay, so this is that plant, that marble queen. I don't know if you can tell, but on the edges there is a lot more of this darkening. Unfortunately, this means that that plant suffered cold damage, so it was probably just unpacked and just put out, and now that it's sat for a couple of days, you can see that it's got all of these dark edges on it. And I'm going to have to go through and I am going to have to treat this plant. I probably will not do that this video because it's already going to be long enough. But we are going to treat this plant and unpot it and whatnot, and we will be doing that in the next vlog. So, but this is what happens, guys. Sometimes you will have beautiful plants right in the store, and then you bring them home and they start to disintegrate and degrade. And in this case, it's nothing, I mean, you can see here. There you go. It's nothing that the person who brought it home did. It's nothing that you did or I did. It's just, it received cold damage in shipping, and it was unpacked and placed in a colder area. And this is what cold damage looks like, guys. There is no pests. It's just the edges. They died. So you can see here. So when you have a blackening of the edges, there's no yellow ring around it. There's no random splotching. It's not a fungal or bacterial. It's just straight up rotting from cold damage, unfortunately. So, and this plant is so beautiful. I don't know, I can't really show you because it's so thick in there, but these stems are almost as thick as my finger. So it's a really older, more mature plant. Still totally worth the purchase. I think I paid $14 for it, so it's really not that bad. But I did want to show you what cold damage looks like in case you ever buy a plant and have this happen to you. So we will be treating this in another video, in the next video probably. Actually, no, not the next video. Next Saturday's video, the vlog. So Tuesday's video is on something else. This one right here is creeping fig. It's a Ficus pomela variety. You guys may have seen my variegated version over here. One second, let me get that for you. There we go. All right, so you can see right here, this is the variegated version of it, and it's been growing so well, it's climbing up this whole big thing here. I actually have it in the window back there behind me most of the time. And then this guy is the same type of plant, but it's just the all green version. There you go, you can kind of see. So, but he'll creep and climb and do all kinds of cool antics, and I just wanted an all green version. Supposedly they do really good in terrariums. I have not seen that, actually. I've heard that they're amazingly well in terrariums, and I just haven't had that much luck with it. But maybe the green version will do better than the variegated version. I don't know. Is this guy? I'm not sure. I don't know what variety it is. I will have to look it up. But he's pretty long guy. Yeah, he's like a little ivy mustache. So, but you can see right here. Actually, this is probably a better. There you go. Take a look at that. And he's got this really cool variegation. It's not really picking it up, but it does have like a yellow creamy. It's not all just white. Like some of them, like this one right here, are more white. And then some of them have more creamy yellow variegation. But I want to put these guys down in my living room on my bricks. So, oops, here we go. Check out those aerial roots. There we go, you can kind of see right there. Check that out. It was brooding in some other pot. So, I'm really excited for this guy. He's going to go all over the place. These are highly invasive, so definitely don't put them outside if you get them. Almost all ivy is highly invasive. And this is another one. This is like an all green version. It kind of reminds me of like, I want to say like a tree star, you know, or like a maple leaf almost. I don't know. They were both giving me Lord of the Ring vibes though, so I definitely had to get them. I'm really excited. This one we are going to have to unpot. There you go. I don't know if you can see it, but it's got a plug here. So, and it's completely sticking out, like the actual soil is down here and this is all plug right here. So we are gonna have to unpot this guy. I don't know, maybe I'll have a whole other unpotting thing at some point, but this guy is really cool. I really dig him. Again, it just says ivy, so I'm going to have to go and look up exactly what these are. It is late at night and I am tired. I am so sorry, guys. Not super high energy today, but so as I said, it has been a couple of days, and this guy actually apparently does not like to dry out at all. So this is, wait, where is your tag? Okay, it says it's a Pia tree ivy. Okay, so here's the tag. There we go. All right, so this is what this guy looks like. And he's got more of like a tree structure going on. So I'm not sure. Supposedly it's some kind of ivy though. But he kind of gives me more of like an Aurelia vibe. Like I can see this kind of style, not so much on an ivy, but on my umbrella tree Fabio downstairs. My little Fabian Aurelia. Kind of grows a lot like this. I don't know, but I'm excited to see how this guy grows. Definitely highly recommend to not let this guy dry out though, because I didn't water him for a couple of days because they're always overwatered when you get them from the store. And this started wilting right here. So this whole little section is just like, so sad face. But we're gonna get him all soaked up overnight, and I am hoping that by laying him on the side and soaking him, he'll be good in the morning. We'll definitely let you know though, for sure. But yeah, sorry I'm not like super high energy today. I try to be higher energy, but it's just late at night. It's like midnight, guys. I had to sneak up here after my kids went to sleep in order to be able to show you my pretty plants. It's just been a madhouse over here. But I had to show you. Okay, so I'm gonna go to bed. I hope you have a good night, and I will see you in the morning. Hi guys, it's another planty vlog day. I'm bottom watering some plants today, so we'll talk about that in just a minute, and then I've got to put them up and away. While I was bottom watering my plants, I realized that my Tradescantia are looking kind of bare, so I'm gonna have to prop and chop a couple of them. So we're gonna do that today. I know you guys have seen me chop and prop Tradescantia before, so I know that's not gonna be that exciting for you maybe, but I don't know. I like doing it. I think it's relaxing and kind of fun. So plus afterwards you have a beautiful plant, so I'm excited. I actually have I have some water propagations that I can actually pot up into another plant to make it more full too. So yeah, And actually, we might end up repotting one of them or two of them too. So yeah, fun stuff today. All right, let's get into it. Okay, so I did water a bunch of plants today. I just bottom watered a bunch of them. I know this is a controversial topic. Some people absolutely hate bottom watering. Other people absolutely love it. For me, anything with terracotta needs a good soaking. It needs a good soaking because the terracotta will wick away the moisture. So if you just top water your plant, whatever you give your plant is going to be soaked up by the terracotta, and your plant roots probably won't get a whole lot, which is fine for some plants, but for other plants, not so good. So I make sure to bottom water all of my terracotta plants. These ones I was just lazy about. And then with these ones in the original peat soil, they haven't been repotted yet. They get very hydrophobic, and in order to get the soil to be properly rehydrated after becoming hydrophobic and rock hard, the only way to do that is to soak them. So that's what I ended up doing. I've got this Tradescantia over here, Cradle of Moses, I believe, not 100%. I think it's supposed to be a lot more purple. I think it's that really, really purple one. So when it gets some really great sunlight, it's going to be beautiful. And then maybe this is the Cradle of Moses one. And it did have a little bit of pink here. So I think this one's going to get a lot more pink. Here you can kind of see down here the color that it's supposed to be. There you go. I hope I didn't just break that leaf. So, but yeah. And then all my peperomia are in terracotta, of course. So I'm just going to put these away, but I did want to touch on the bottom watering aspect. So, all right, let's get into it. Dirty, but I did want to show you, this is the Golden Gate Peperomia obtusifolia, and then this over here is the Marble Peperomia obtusifolia. So you can see all of the splashiness and the variegation. It's like an extra added layer in comparison, but their growth pattern is the same. They chop and prop the same, they have the same growing conditions. This one just has a little bit more green. Pardon the mess. Just hard water. But yeah, so you can see here that it can revert if you don't give it enough light. But this is what it looks like. So it's actually really cool. I really enjoy it. Either one of these plants is one of the more hardy peperomias. So if you're just getting into peperomia, or you've had really bad luck with peperomia, highly recommend these ones. These clusifolia over here, this is the Dark Night clusifolia, I have been struggling with. They'll grow for me, but then they'll shed their leaves after a bit. So I don't know. Or they'll get, like, this one is all kind of weird and wrinkly. I don't know. And then over here is the Peperomia orba variegata. I need to put it back in the greenhouse. It's not gonna make it out here. We're trying, but I think it's more of a terrarium plant than the fungus gnat. Go away. So, but I think it's more of a terrarium plant. And this that's in here is not what I put in here. My son actually dumped a whole plant inside the bottom watering bin. So I've got all this floating bits of sand. And then it was this poor little guy from last week, right? So like we had just repotted him and I placed him like right over here on our new little thing. I'm very excited about this, by the way. Check it out. See? Yes, I know. But we got this new cart thing. It was in my kitchen and then I didn't need it anymore, so I gave it to my husband, and my husband didn't need it, so he's like, take it upstairs. So I'm gonna fill this whole thing with plants, probably next week. We'll do that next week. But I'm very, very excited for this. So we'll be shuffling them around, and then it's got wheels, so I can move it to more sunny areas if I want, you know? So it's pretty awesome. I'm pretty excited for that. But anyway, I had it out. My son tipped the whole entire thing. Just right in there. So that is the story of how that got in there. But I don't know. I just kind of wanted to share because this is like, normally I don't do like a top coat type of deal. Like that's, the top dressing is not my thing. And I kind of wanted to explain, like, this is leaning this way. It's not because of the light, it's because it totally got unpotted when the other plant fell on it. So, yeah, it's been a bit of an adventure. So, and then I'm going to have to get all of this out. Sand and bark and... Look, it's definitely not supposed to look this dirty in the bottom watering water. Just so you know, like, if that's been one of your biggest fear things, it's normally pretty clean and not that gross at all. This is just because an entire plant spilled in there, like, and it's missing like 1/3 of its soil now. So that is that adventure. I'm gonna put these up on the shelf, except for this one. It's got to go back in the greenhouse after I'm done cleaning it out later. So, yep. There we go. I feel like this was kind of like a really heavy, one of those on the shelf, but here you go, you know, type of deal. It's a dorky. I don't know. But yeah, so it's up there for now. This is kind of the setup that we've got going on, the huge. So, my son's sweater down there. We're all messy. So, alrighty. On to chop and propping. Okay, so here are some of my Tradescantia. You can see my little fuzzy Tradescantia over here. He's kind of looking a little bare at the base there. Needs a little bit of cleanup and maybe some chop and prop. So we're going to get that taken care of today. Over here is my Tradescantia albo. It is trailing and doing wonderfully as well, but I have a couple of propagations that I want to pot up with him. And then the dragon tail Tradescantia, I want to repot that because this mix dries out way too quickly. So I'm going to be doing that today. And those are just kind of the 3 that we're going to be working on a little bit today. Okay, so the first plant up is this Tradescantia vittata, albo vittata. I have a bunch of cuttings in here. I've got a little fuzzy one and then a Calicia repens, golden, I think. But I just want to put all of these little albo cuttings right in there and kind of fill this pot up and make it look nicer. So I'm going to use my little metal chopstick. This actually came with my bonsai jack soil as like a bonus. And honestly, I use it all the freaking time. Had I known it was so amazing, I would have bought one. Like, can't recommend it enough. So I'm just finding a place that looks kind of bare and I'm just going to poke a hole. There are so many fine roots in this plant that I would be worried about damage if it didn't grow so quickly. Honestly, normally fine roots, I'm making such a big mess. Oh my goodness. But normally fine roots mean that they're going to be like a weak plant, not like to be messed with very much. But these plants recover and grow so quickly that that is not a problem. Like for example, I have all of these roots, they're all entangled. I am going to have to divide them, but all of these plants just bounce back so easily and so quickly that I'm not worried about it at all. This Calicia doesn't seem to have very many roots. I don't think it's a very good grower, honestly. It died off quickly when I got it. This one doesn't have very many roots either, but it still got more than the Calicia repens, even though I put it in after it. But anyway, it looks like we have 3 of these albo cuttings, and they all have a decent root system. So I'm just going to poke a couple holes in and kind of make it work. There we go. So those don't dry out. If roots dry out, then they're dying and then they won't be able to, you know, you have to regrow them all over again. I'm just going to tuck this in here. It's actually got a new growth on the bottom as well, which is pretty cool. So I just need to poke a couple more holes and get these other guys in there and have a nice comfy little home for them. That's the beauty of these guys. Tradescantia, they will die off at the base and the foliage will fall off, but you prop and chop them and they'll promote new growth from the base, and then they'll just grow even more from what you propped, and then they'll divide where you chopped them, and you can get a really nice thick plant even though they're naturally a creeping plant rather than a trailing plant. So it's pretty cool. And you can see in there it's got new growth coming out at the base there too. And I got these little guys all tucked in here. It looks like a very nice full pot now. So, and then they will start trailing and then it's going to really take off. It's going to be amazing. So make sure you subscribe so you can check that out. Shameless plug. This one is the Dragon's Tail one. I don't like this top soil, so I'm going to go ahead and dig through it and figure out what the heck's going on. It has a nice root system though. Like, I am so confused as to why the top is like this. Maybe it tipped out and I just dumped what I had on hand at the time. But I don't want to mess with the roots because they're actually doing pretty good. I think I'm just going to go to the box and we're going to pull out some of the cuttings and we're going to fill this guy back up. These actually rooted really well in here in perlite. I'm going to have to say like 10 out of 10 propagation method with these. I'm definitely loving it a lot. So highly recommend. And I just plopped them. It's just perlite in a clear box. I did a whole video on this, I think, when I did my Hoya propagation video. I will try to link that below for you guys. So, and I'm just being very careful when I'm pulling out the roots. I am not going to remove the perlite. It's just going to help with drainage. It's not going to harm the roots if it stays on. So it will harm the roots if I remove it though. That one is a big, juicy one. Oh my goodness. So, this little guy doesn't have any roots. I don't know if this one actually will root because it doesn't appear to have a node. I think that was a test one. But this one over here is rooted nicely in 2 places. There we go. All right. So, and it's just the same method. I'm just trying to figure out where is a good place to kind of make a hole and prop these in there. It's going to be a little bit more difficult because I want to make sure that the soil, I want to make sure that the roots are in the soil. This one, I'm just going to chop it. I'll put the other end back in the perlite and then I'll put this one right in here because it's going to be kind of awkward putting it in here and it doesn't have very much roots on the other side anyway. So, and then this guy right here, we're just going to kind of squeeze in here. That already makes it look way more full because that was such a big piece when I chopped it. I got these on Etsy, by the way. I will try to link the shop if it's still open. I got them last year. So it's pretty fantastic though. It was a great shop, shipped them really well. Plants came in great condition. It's really hit or miss when you're shipping Tradescantia, so they just don't like the change. But you can see how I'm not being that gentle with the roots. I'm being, you know, I don't know what the word is. I am acknowledging that the roots are there, but I'm not being overly gentle and babying them. I'm just kind of shoving them in there, trying to do as little damage as possible. But if some damage is done, it is not that big a deal. They heal up so quickly. So, and I am going to make sure to give this a really good soak and water over the next couple of days. So I'll just water it and let it soak up, and then the next time it starts to dry out, like the top dries out, not the full pot, I'll give it another water, and then after that I will start to let it fully dry out. All right, and that is pretty much that for this one. Kind of sprinkle this extra soil back in here and we'll call it good. It's a full looking Dragon's Tail Tradescantia. Pretty excited for that one to see that grow. Oh, it's so pretty. I love how the tips are kind of pointy and lacy at the ends. It is really neat looking. Okay, and then this is our lovely little fuzzy Tradescantia. I'm going to remove the dead foliage at the ends here, and then I think I'm going to chop the tips and then repot it back in. I am loving how it's got new growth coming in there, though. That's awesome. I couldn't see that before. So I'm pretty stoked about that. It looks like it's got 2 growth points. So I'm pretty excited for that. Let me get all these off. You always want to remove the dead foliage just because the pests will love to live in it. And it's part of its natural process to kill off the older foliage so that it can continue to make newer foliage. It's just part of being a creeping plant. It's totally part of the Tradescantia growth process. So it just means that we've got to chop and prop in order to keep it going. This one is very vigorous though, because it's already putting out at the base, even though I haven't really chopped it in a long time. So I did have more cuttings of this though, but when I had my little thrips invasion, they happened to hit up my propagations and I had to get rid of almost all of my propagations. I think I have 1 Syngonium propagation left, so a little sad about that. For this one here though, I'm just going to be putting it in new fresh soil because I'm concerned that when I add the cuttings to it, that they're going to make a whole bunch more roots and there's not going to be enough room for the new roots plus the old roots. And then the root system is getting ready to expand because it's producing new offshoots. So it's definitely it can use a little bit of an extra boost fertilizer wise, some fresh soil and just a little bit of extra room. These guys like a tight pot though, so I don't want to upsize it too much, and I don't mind repotting it again in a couple of months. They're really resilient plants, so I like to have them grow in pot size as their root balls grow. So there we go, got that all squared away. It is a little thirsty, so I'm going to give it some water. I let it soak for about 15 minutes so that the foliage is all firm. Fungus gnat just flying by. But yeah, you do not want to be chopping these guys when they have not had the opportunity to soak up and have completely full foliage. That is one of the biggest mistakes that people make all the time, actually. I see it quite a bit. You go and you chop something and then it doesn't have the energy and the nutrients and be able to actually produce anything from it. So the tip growths will make it most full, so that's why I'm kind of chopping off the ends, and that way if it divides, it's just going to make it look like a more full vining plant. It's also going to promote more growth at the base from here, so I just kind of want to make sure that that ends up happening, and that's why I'm chopping it that way. This little end piece is giving me trouble. There we go. I think it was just the angle I was holding the clippers. Or these could be my clippers that need to be sharpened. I don't know. I definitely don't pay enough attention to my tools. So, all right. So I'm going to do the same exact thing. Okay, so with these, we can just go ahead and root them directly in soil. I've seen these guys grow really, really vigorously, so I'm not too concerned about it. None of these will die off. They'll be just fine. I also just watered it, so I know that it's going to be moist long enough that it's going to grow some roots from it. It'll be all good. There are some varieties of Tradescantia that you want to root in water or perlite first. Usually they're the thinner foliage ones. These ones are a little bit chunkier. Their stems are a little bit thicker because they're a little bit more mature. So they're not as prone to rot and they're more likely to just root on in. It also helps if you have 2 nodes available to produce roots when you're sticking them in soil, because if you just have one, then there is more of an opportunity that they won't grow roots before the foliage starts to die off and it loses all its nutrients. But with 2 rooting points, it hasn't failed me yet, honestly. I mean, I can't say I guarantee it for you because technically, you know, but yeah, I'm pretty content with that. And that's the one that I rooted in water. If you don't want to shove it in soil right away, you can root it in water or perlite. It's all good. I do have a whole video on propagating Tradescantia, but look at all that green. And this green is going to grow and it's going to cover the brown ends. You can see the new growth is right there. This little new growth died off. Also, check out the fuzz. Do you see how fuzzy this is? In the summertime, the entire plant gets that fuzzy. It is so cool. It comes with maturity and sunlight. So you can see the whole thing is just going to be a big fuzzy plant. It reminds me of Yoda. I'm so excited. This plant's going to look amazing. All right, let me put it away. I'm back on its little spot. All right, here we go. We put it right over here. It's looking all happy and pretty. Definitely brightens the place up a bit more. And then here's our Alba Vittata Tradescantia and our Dragon's Tail Tradescantia. Pardon the mess. Everything is always messy on my channel. It just is what it is. But they look happy. So much better. Okay, so I totally forgot that I wanted to chop up a couple more yesterday, and I totally didn't close out the day. I had to book it. So it's a new day. And we're going to be chopping up 2 more plants. So that's kind of the plan. I've got 2 more Tradescantia that need to be chopped up. So that's what we're going to be doing. So let's get into that. Okay, so here is the ones that I need to have propagated. Basically what I need them to do is bifurcate. They're just growing in one long stalk straight up, all of these, even this one, this purple heart one over here that's really full. What I needed to do, you can see over here that they're all just growing straight up. So what I want to do is kind of chop it so that way it will end up dividing up a bit more, because otherwise it's just going to keep on growing straight up. They will produce pups at the base like this at times, and that can make the plant look more full. But an easier, faster way to make it look full is to actually go in, let me twist it around here for you so you can actually see what's going on, is you make a big chop on that big main stem, and then it's actually going to cause it to divide and produce multiple plants from that stem cut. It also causes more new growth from the base. So and this is called bifurcation, where the plant is forced to divide like that. So, and you can see that it's healed over. It's not damaged in any way. You can see that another whole new shoot came out the base. This baby one it was working on before, but this one over here, it's totally new one. And it's okay if there's a dead leaf down there. No worries. Like I said before, it's part of their growth process. Although these types don't do it as much as the creeping ones. These are more an upright variety. So I'm just going to go ahead and chop these up a little bit. Let me scoot these out of the way here. Alright, so we'll do the Cradle of Moses one first. I do want to chop right underneath the node, so that way it has a place to bifurcate from, and then that way we also have a node on our cutting in order to get roots from. It doesn't always need a node to root, but for these thicker stemmed ones, they definitely seem to do better if they have a node. And that is pretty much it. I'm going to let it harden off there, and then I'm going to let the cutting harden off. These ones I'm going to root in water just because I don't think they'll fit in my perlite box. And I don't want to waste a whole bottle of perlite, but they'll root in water just fine. And then let me get this purple heart one chopped. I am going to go a bit more vigorously chopping them, just because you can see that they've gotten really leggy, meaning that there is a lot of space in between the nodes there. So it was searching for light. It was not getting the amount of light that it needed. So there is a lot of space in between. This one appears to be a flower stalk and doesn't even have a node, so I can't chop that. But I will chop all of the other ones except for that. Yeah, I've never seen that before, where it's just the one full stem on a Tradescantia, really long like that, and then no node on it anywhere. It came from a node. So most of the time I see flowers and they're part of the foliage. They don't have a whole separate stalk. So interesting. Alright, so for these, I'm just gonna make sure that the node is kind of cleared and that the roots can get out more easily. So I'm just removing the leaves. I just broke that. I don't know if it'll root there, but we'll see. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the leaves from here. You can see this kind of has a sheath around it, so I'm going to remove that as well, and then I'm going to cut the stem kind of closer, so that way if there is some rot, I have some room to chop it off, and that way I have a little bit more to work with and the node's not completely ruined. I could divide them technically. I'm just feeling kind of lazy at this point, honestly. So, plant care, self-care, right? So I think I'm gonna remove this as well, and that way this particular one, since there's only one cutting of it, will have 2 nodes. And then I'm just gonna put them all in a bottle of water. It's normal room temperature water. I don't want to do it too cold because that'll cause some damage, and then too hot will cause damage as well. So as long as it's room temperature, it'll be just fine. So I don't think very many people like talk about the temperature of water. They just assume cold. I don't know. But let me kind of angle these, and ta-da! So, a nice little centerpiece if you had like family over or whatever. But yeah, I don't know. It'll look really cute on a shelf, I think. I don't know where I'm gonna put it, but yeah. Easy peasy. Guys, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I hope this was kind of fun for you guys. I definitely had a lot of fun. Don't forget to subscribe so that you can check out my special video for Tuesday where I talk about invasive plants, and the next vlog will pop up on next Saturday, so that way you can figure out what's going on and how to treat cold damage too. And I'm gonna go put these 2 away, and I hope you have an amazing day, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.